Welcome everybody to our podcast, Noise to Music, where we take the noise in our life and we turn it into magical music. We're in the middle of a series entitled 8 Reasons to Be in a Relationship. The ultimate goal of this entire series is to study the relationships we have in our lives, be it with ourselves, relationship with yourself, friends, family, marriage, dating, and strengthen that muscle and develop a relationship with God. So we always ask, how do I do it? How do I do it? Well, this is how we do it. We're in reason number 3. We had spoken about joy of existence. We had spoken about the need to love. And now we're in reason number 3, which is admiration. That means relationships provide us with the capability of admiring someone. Let's first discuss the definition of admiration. Admiration is a social emotion felt by observing people of competence, talent, or skills exceeding standards, right? You admire someone that has one of these characteristics. They're talented, they're skilled, they're competent, all right? Now, it does 2 things for us. First of all, it facilitates social learning. You admire someone, so you're able to learn from that from a social perspective. Number 2, it's self-motivating, which is an important point that we'll talk about. When you admire someone, so you're able to improve through learning from your role models. And what I need you to do while you're listening to this is kind of keep in mind and kind of search your database for people that you admire, all right? Because it's going to make it very, very practical. So pause this, if you will, for a minute. If you're driving, don't do anything. Just listen. Okay. Now, how does admiration work? So there's something called projection. Okay, projection is a psychological defense mechanism, effectively, that somebody attributes characteristics that they find unacceptable in someone else. Sigmund Freud discussed this at length. And instead of blaming ourselves, what we do from a negative perspective is we blame others. Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say someone's being hostile to someone, right? And you say to yourself, why do you see someone else being hostile? Why do you see your wife, your friend, they're acting so bad, they're acting so negative. Why are they doing that? The reason is because within yourself, you have some type of hostility. And what you do is you project that vision onto someone else. And you say, that person has anger management issues. That person has jealousy issues. That person has fill in the blank. But really, we have that inner side. We don't want to blame ourselves, so we start seeing it in others. Okay, it's almost like the body or the subconscious explaining, hey, I'm really bothered by this. We need to deal with it. All right. Sometimes, just like fever is a symptom. Fever, when someone has fever, right? We should all be healthy when someone has fever. So it's kind of letting us to know, hey, there's something else going on within the body. We need to kind of talk about it. We need to deal with it. On the flip side of it, from a positive perspective, there's also the concept of projection. What does that mean? You have qualities that you admire in someone else. You start seeing them in someone else. Why do you start seeing them in someone else? The answer is because you subconsciously want to get there. You want to aspire to get there, and so on and so forth. So they start, quote unquote, popping up in your life. They start popping up in your life. You start seeing it in all different places. That's a self-motivating, self-improvement. That's your body, that's your subconscious telling you, hey, let's work on this. Let's become great in this. That's why you're starting to notice it. It's kind of like the idea of when you want to buy a specific car, right? You want to choose any car. You want to buy a Nissan Sentra. I don't know why I just chose that. And you start seeing Nissan Sentras all over the place. You never notice. You say, so many people have them. It's not that so many people have them. It's on your mind. Hence, you start to notice it. There's an article written by Dr. Josh Grisel. And it's entitled, Why What I Admire in You Also Says Something About Me. Meaning the idea is basically aligned with what we're saying. Tell me who you admire, I'll tell you about yourself. So I'll read a little bit of it at risk of being boring. Take a moment and think about someone you admire more than anyone else in your life. What is it about this man or woman that makes you look up to him or her? Is it courage, intelligence, modesty, tenacity, charisma, love, spirituality, and so on and so forth? Now hear this, he continues to write. Those qualities are in you, seeking to come out. Okay, I'm saying again, those qualities are in you, seeking to come out. And that's why you're able to see them so clearly in another person, right? It's kind of your subconscious saying, hey, I really want to work on this. Now, the beauty of it is the Baal Shem Tov says this on another point. He says, when you see something in someone that really, really irks you on a deep level, it's because you have a little bit of a taste of that attribute, of that midah. Here too, when you admire someone and you start noticing it, it's essentially your subconscious, it's essentially you telling yourself, hey, we have this, let's make it great. All right, so to the positive qualities you're not acknowledging within yourself are appearing in those around you. And that's an important point. We're not acknowledging those positive qualities within ourselves enough. Hence, we start noticing it, right? It's an expression. Such a beautiful point. Now, that's the positive side of admiring positive people. There's a negative side of it. If we don't tend to it, what happens is, and he continues to write, the downside to positive projections, like negative projections, is when we don't take responsibility from where they come from within us. That means if we don't do something about it, it effectively could have a negative effect. It could make us feel like we're not getting anywhere, we're worthless, look, people are so great, and how come I'm staying stagnant? So we have to really harness that feeling of admiration because it's a learning process. We need it. We need those people in our lives. We need to stay close to them on whatever level so that we can self-motivate ourselves, so that we can become the people that we want to be. Okay, now I want you to, like I said, take a moment and translate within yourself or think about someone who you admire. Okay, and kind of list in your mind what you admire about them. I'll actually pause for a moment because I found in class when I pause, it kind of becomes real. Brief. Okay, pause, did the whole pause silent thing. You found someone that you admire. Now, you develop in your mind what characteristics they have that you actually admire about them. Okay, those characteristics are things that you should be striving to work on because those are things that you could become great in. Now, on another level, let's, as we always do, try and take this to the next step, which is really making it practical. So we have 5 relationships, and let's discuss how we're going to implement them. We have a relationship with ourselves. We have a relationship with family and friends. We have an intimate relationship, be it dating, be it marriage, and ultimately we have a relationship with God, right? So those are 4, but family and friends are really 2. Now, when it comes to ourselves, how do we use admiration? How do we use this muscle of admiration? So the idea is to be an admirable person. Make a list of traits that you admire about yourself. Discover and dig deep within yourself and see, hey, what is admirable about me? What do others admire about me? And guess what? What do I admire about yourself? Now, why is this not ego? Why is this not haughtiness? The answer is like we've said in the past, in the name of Rav Nachman Blessed, it's very dangerous not to know your flaws. Very, very it's not a good thing not to know your flaws. Says Rav Nachman Blessed, it's even more dangerous when you don't know your strengths. Your strengths. Our strengths are the points that we should be spending and focusing most of our energy. If God gave us these characteristics, if life developed them within us, it's because they're supposed to take us somewhere. So what do you admire about yourself? Tell yourself that story. What is it about me that I admire? What's admirable? Next is when it comes to your family and friends, what friends do you admire? And we want to make it practical. Can you let them know? Is there a level of you saying, hey, I really admire your integrity. It's something to learn from. When it comes to our intimate relationships, right? What does a person have that you admire? How do you need that? You might have someone that is more organized, or is more freebird, or is more structured, or is something to that extent. What do you admire about that? How does that fit into your life? Why does that fit into your life? Is there something within there that could be nurtured? Is there something for you to take from it? Or is it just meant for you to have by association? Now, the last point is when we talk about God, is understanding what has Hashem done for us that we admire. Me personally, what has He done for the world? Spend time telling God what you admire within Him that is above and beyond. Look at world history, look at your family history, look at yourself, and so on and so forth. Take the muscle of admiration to become a better person. Don't just admire and walk away. Admire and do something within yourself, within your family and friends, within those that you have an intimate relationship, and ultimately discuss and build that muscle of admiration with God. Thank you so much, and I look forward to